his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Wake and Jake in the morning, Wake and Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Good morning, Bakers, and welcome to a very special edition of Wake and Jake. Joining myself and big, baby, beautiful David is big-headed Bobby Skinner joining us. Joining us from?
Florida, Melbourne, Florida. I'm back in Florida. I was up there in New York in 2 weeks ago now, and it's be honest, I do like Florida more. Although when I was on the radio, I pandered to New York pretty well. So
smart. That's smart. We had some fun when you were in the office. The office is built more for Hobbit than real-sized men, and Bobby dealt with the struggles of that. But
see, I'm used to that. Like you guys see
right.
me in there in that environment, and like, wow, he must like. People see me in like in a car. It's like, why is it uncomfortable? It's like, well, that's my entire life. That's all I've ever known. So
damn.
It's nothing new for me.
Kind of heavy, Bob. Always uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Ben Mason to the Pats. JOMBOY just reported it. He just walked in and reported it.
I always forget you guys have the Ben Mason ties. And
Bobby
I was
said
really
I always
hoping he'd end
forget
up with
that
the
you
Giants.
have those ties. So we were talking about that the other day.
If I think the Ravens were the best fit, but the second best fit would have been the Patriots.
Look at that. Ben Mason. So that's the kind of preview you're about to get. We are a week away from NFL football. They'll be playing, what is it, Cowboys-Bucks Thursday night?
Cowboys-Bucks, America's team versus the Super Bowl champs in Tampa.
Wow. And I think, Bobby, you're going to be live streaming that? Talking Football Channel?
Yeah, Thursday Night Football. We will be live streaming every Thursday Night Football this
all year.
All year. At least as long as it works out well. If you guys show up and give us good views, then it'll be all year.
Yeah, and go check out everything on Talking Football. You know, everyone always asks what's, basketball, football, what else are you guys doing? Talking Giants, growing by the day. Talking football, right behind it. So, gonna be a fun year. Bobby Skinner trying to break the mold of baseball company. Any baseball takes you need to get out before we get into the football stuff?
I do have one.
Oh, boy.
Is Javi Baez booing? Like, I know if you're a Mets fan, you don't like that.
Sure.
But from the outside in, is that not like the funniest thing you've ever heard in a press conference? Like, no, I'm actually gonna boo you back. Like, I don't think I've ever like felt an athlete more than I did him in that moment. Like, okay, you guys want to boo us? I'll boo you right back.
Man, there's part of it that's beautiful. Like, if it was kept in-house with the Mets and we found out in 10 years, it would have been, like, hilarious. Like, because the Mets fans probably would have loved it, and then they find out 10 years later the players were booing them. But, yeah, we actually, Bobby, on JJR today, where you've been a guest, we did a things you can't boo draft. What were some of the highlights, BBD?
I took the Troops. Jimmy took Wedding Vows 1-1. Waiters and waitresses. Your driving instructor pick I really liked. Your wife during labor.
So,
Mom's cooking.
Was Troops 1-1?
I took the Troops second overall.
1-2.
Oh, okay.
1-2. Jimmy did Wedding Vows 1-1.
But I feel like it's someone throwing a boo in there. Like, oh, that's Tim. Tim
Well, I don't think we want to empower Tim. I hate when Tim does that. I mean, the marriage is just doomed, and that's tough. And yeah, a lot of them we broke down would be funny movie scenes. Like, if you boo, what were some of the ones we said would be a good movie scene?
Coming out of the closet,
yeah.
Children's recital, during sex, a funeral.
During sex. Yeah, you can movie-fy a lot of them. So we'll work on that. But, yeah, no, the Javi Baez stuff was pretty wild. It's good baseball.
Yeah, now their assistant GM,
Yeah.
who was the assistant because the main GM was
acting
a weirdo.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of, it happens, but man, it's Metsy as it getsy.
Yeah,
have you brought that line back out for this, or you guys retired it?
Tweeted it.
Metsy as it getsy has won because Mets fans were so mad about it, and now you have no footing. You never had footing to stand on because it is Metsy as it getsy. So hey, to all our Mets fans tuning in for the NFL season preview, sorry.
Oh, I love them. I don't hate the Mets. But it's objectively funny what's going on with them right now. Not as DUIs. DUIs aren't funny.
That one. Very sympathetic as a Knicks fan.
Shea Station.
A lot of crossover there.
Bobby, I want to talk some foosball with you.
Let's do it.
If that's all right. And, I usually aim wide, miss small. I think, we'll probably stumble into some player conversations. We're going to do the conferences and the teams. And I guess... Bobby, I always like starting Giants with you because that's kind of your specialty at this point, and they are playing my Broncos week 1. What is the genuine best case for the Giants this year? Like 10 out of 10, they go 11-6.
That would probably be like the best case scenario without like being just unreasonable, because they did win 6. Like if you look at the second half of last season, they finished 5-3. They look good. The defense looked good. The defense should be better because, they added players and, second year and scheme stuff. And the offense just can't be worse than what it was last year. I mean, they were the second worst in the offense in the NFL compared to the Jets. They added pieces. They kept Garrett, which obviously I'm like pretty anti-Garrett at this point. But Jones being in the system a second year does help. I'd rather him just be in a better system, but it does help with some changes. So, like, when we talk about the NFC East, like the Giants, Washington, and Dallas, all of their fans should be expecting to win the division this year.
Yeah. Obviously Daniel Jones' development, and you can point to pretty much any team around the league with a young quarterback and be like, well, if he takes the step, that's going to help the team. What's I guess, for our mini episode of Talking Giants here, I always forget BBD's Giants. People forget.
Yeah.
How about that? And to get outside of like footballisms, like if the line is cohesive and healthy all year, like what's one of the actual secrets to opening up? Like, is Kenny Golladay being over the top going to change things? Because I know how big you guys have been on Daniel Jones. Deep ball, like could we look at the end of the year and Sterling Shepard is 100 receptions type guy? Like what are some of the keys to actually unlocking the Giants?
Saquon's back. Like,
right.
You forget how good of a player Saquon is because he missed all last year. And then when they like activated him, it's like you go back and watch him. It's like, man, this guy is special. So the addition of him and Kenny Golladay, because Saquon is like a free agent addition at this point or a draft pick. And just the offensive line not being a total like just disaster. Like it doesn't even have to be good, but it just can't be a total disaster. But yeah, Saquon and Kenny Golladay, they lack big plays, and those are two guys who are known for their big play ability. So that is what can help the offense go in spite of even if Daniel Jones doesn't get better or Jason if the offensive play calling isn't better. Like those two guys can make what was bad into something that is good enough to let the defense win games for you.
Who's your guy on the Giants, BBD?
My guy.
Do you have one right now? Like, is it Saquon? He's kind of.
Sterling Shepard's like just been there the longest, and I've always just kind of had a soft spot for him.
Okay.
So that's where my mind goes. And you're partial to your quarterback, and I've liked Daniel Jones.
Sure.
But New York fans a lot of times hate their quarterback until they win like a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's not the way I operate. But yes.
Yeah, that's true.
King BBD. What's the best case for the defense? Can the defense be like a top 5 defense if things click? Are you bullish on the defense?
They were 9th ranked last year, and they added like their biggest weakness was their corner outside of Bradbury, and they added Adoree Jackson, and got some decent guys. Like they got better. They didn't get worse in any spot besides like nose tackle, and even then,
man.
So yeah, there's and Patrick Graham is like known as one of and we'll talk about like the Rams losing their defensive coordinator to the Chargers, but like Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinators, like people around the league are starting to notice him.
Maybe I'm too close to the situation, but The names test on defense, they pass. I mean, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Blake Martinez, Bradbury Peppers, Ryan Jackson in the secondary. Like that passes the eye test just as someone that's not in the tape and stuff.
Yeah, they went out and got players the past 2 years, and then, along with, drafting guys like Dex, trading for Pepper. Like, they have a lot of players on this defense. They just don't have that, like, pure blood pass rusher. Like, that's really the only thing they're missing.
Who scares you the most? Is it Dallas? Just like if Dak is back and he clicks, they have the talent?
Yes. Washington, I'm really not worried about. Like, they can be good, but Ryan Fitzpatrick's fun, but he's not good. And when's the last time Ryan Fitzpatrick was expected to start 16 games? It was for the Jets, and they kind of like tanked that year after they went like 9-7. But Dallas, because their offense before Dak got hurt was rolling, and I get they're losing games, but I think the same way the Giants are like, well, we can't be the second worst offense in the league. Dallas is probably like, you know what, we got Dan Quinn. We're probably not going to be the worst defense or one of the worst defenses. So yeah, Dallas, because they do have a little bit of talent on their defense, nothing crazy. They definitely have issues in their secondary. But yeah, Dallas, because they can put up points, and they were, even in losses last year, they were putting up like 35, 40 points.
Man, yeah, your Washington point. I just get thrown into fantasy football drafts at this point, and I just lose control. And I've been excited for Logan Thomas. Like, he had a really nice year. I like a quarterback that turns tight end. That's really fun. And everyone's been really excited at Fitzpatrick, but when you actually look at the stats and a 38-year-old quarterback, and like, he's known for being Fitzmagic. Like, his days where it's on, it's really cool, but he also has terrible turnovers often, which for a defense that's supposed to be like potentially special in Washington, that's not necessarily the formula. Like, you'd almost rather have the safe guy. You'd rather have a Bridgewater or someone.
Right. And, I don't want to be like too mean to Washington, because I think part of it is like the Giants have beaten them like 5 games in a row, and the Giants haven't been good. So it's like I kind of still, in a sense, look down to them, even though they won the division. That's what I was going to say. Their offensive line isn't good either. They lost guys on their O-line. Like, their offensive line's not in good shape. So if you mix that with Fitzpatrick, I mean, they have some good weapons. Like, I really like Terry McLaurin. I think if he was with a good QB, people would talk about him a lot more. And then they added Curtis Samuel and then drafted De'Ami Brown. So yeah, I mean, like I said at the top though, all 3 of those teams should be convinced that they're going to win the division this year.
What's going on in Philly, man? Did it just all fall apart? Like, if you give the Hurts speech, and like, let's say Jalen Hurts is solid, whatever that means for Jalen Hurts, should this team get more love? I don't know. Like,
I think their cap is like being like 6-7 wins. I mean, they're just bad all around. Their best wide receiver is Devontae Smith, who's a rookie. Maybe Rager makes a comeback. But the issue is, if you look at their roster, like, okay, there's some good players, but a lot of their players are old and have been injured like crazy. So it's like, you don't want to bank on injuries, but it's like you can kind of maybe bank on some injuries with Lane Johnson and then Kelsey at center. And also part of it is, I don't think Jalen Hurts is good, and they I don't know if they are in love with him too. When they just traded a draft pick for Gardner Minshew, and like the Sirianni guy, I don't want to judge him on a bad press conference, but is he someone that inspires you in a team? And in preseason, they have been bad. So, I think and I'm not like trying to be like I hate the Eagles Giants fan, but it's like, I think they can be the worst team in the league this year because of Jalen Hurts and not much being around him.
No, and I mean, what you're saying is fair. Like, a lot of the stuff, if you do the Wentz Hurts storyline and all of that, like, they clearly they didn't love Hurts. So I don't know. I'm interested. I mean, I'll if Hurts does figure it out, and with quarterbacks, we know it's basically a game of roulette, that obviously changes the Eagles' outlook. But it's an interesting way to look at it. I guess when I looked at the NFC East, I didn't naturally see that, but it kind of makes sense when you put it all on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very flawed division. I mean, our division winner won 7 games last year. So Dallas, like, they should be preaching like we were one game away from winning the division and we didn't have our quarterback.
Yeah.
Washington should be like talking about how their defense is, and even though Ryan Fitzpatrick's bad, he's an upgrade over what they had last year. And the Giants should be like, hey, our defense was really good. It got better, and we expect the offense to take a leap. They added a bunch of players on the offense. So all three teams should be expecting to win the division, even if they expect to win it with like 9 or 10 games.
BBD, who wins the NFC East?
Giants, I don't see a loss on the schedule.
Smart.
Woo!
Smart. Bob?
I got to go Giants. It would be wrong. If you asked me this last year, I wouldn't say the Giants. I'd say the Cowboys. But this year, I am going with the Giants.
BBD on the Giants. Bobby on the Giants. Both of their favorite teams. God, it really should be the Cowboys, man.
They're
But
my big
That's kind of every year it should be.
They always find a way to, not should be. Be funny if the Redskins won and their defense was kind of special. You know what? I'll go Skins. At least they know what they've got. And I like Ron Rivera, I decided.
I like Ron Rivera too. I wanted the Giants to kind of maybe grab him as their head coach last year when they were before they got judged.
And Washington football team. Sorry if I said the.
Yeah.
They
the
need to
R
find a
word.
name though. It's been 2 years. Like you don't get a full year of like being able to pick a name and being like still haven't found one. And you kind of knew this was coming for a long time anyways. I don't know how they don't have a name yet.
It's funny.
Literally as long
I
as
think
I
they
can
like
remember.
football team, man. I really do.
Washington maybe has the least bustability.
Well,
They
that's
had the highest floor. It can be old takes exposed so easily.
if they find a way to score, whether it's Gibson or McLaurin or Logan Thomas, like I think their defense is legit. They've got Rivera running it, who was on like the 85 Bears or whatever it was, and he coached a lot of good defenses. Like I can believe in that for sure. It should be the Cowboys. Sorry, Keith, not here. NFC North, who's like, what's the team? I mean, are the Packers still the favorite after all the Rodgers stuff? Just because Lions are Goff God now, Bears are the Bears, and
Lions
I guess
are
people
another
like the
candidate.
Vikings.
Lions are another candidate for being one of the worst teams in the league. The Bears, man, I don't know why they're not starting Justin Fields. And I'm not even like fully in love with Justin Fields, but it's like, what loyalty do you have to Andy Dalton? I just don't understand that, and I don't know. But it's got to be the Packers easy. Like I've always kind of, rooted for the Bears and always thought they've had a good team, but they've even lost some guys. Their offensive line is injured, and it was already bad. They lost. They got Tevin Jenkins, the guy I like, got injured from the second round. The Vikings are so up and down. Doesn't it feel like the Vikings are just like every other year? Like, all right, this year we're good, this year we're bad.
Yeah.
So, but it feels like things are kind of busting at the seams a little bit in Minnesota, though, too. Like, there's a lot of. It just seems like they're not doing well from camp. So it's easy the Packers, and if I was picking a second place team, it'd be the Vikings. But I just don't see them threatening the Packers. The Packers are really good. Really don't like. I would probably have picked them to win the Super Bowl if they didn't have this whole Aaron Rodgers drama.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Vikings. I don't think we're gonna pick wild card teams here, but yeah, it's just what are you getting out of Cousins? Because man, Dalvin Cook is a beast. Jefferson and Thielen. I mean, that's an awesome one too. And then defense, I feel like they always have a solid defense, and that's what Mike Zimmer's known for. So, yeah,
They're just so up. It's like I said, every year it's like 1 year they're really good and competing, and then like last year they're just bad.
And like as a football player, where I try not to be super critical. There's times when I watch Cousins and I'm just like, what the hell? But at the same time, like his numbers on paper look good last year. 35 touchdowns, 13 picks.
He started off really bad last year and then like kind of bounced back and then finished bad, I'm pretty sure. But I do remember him starting like really, really bad last year. But it's at the same time, it's like when you have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and last year with Rudolph and Irv Smith. Now they lost Rudolph and Irv Smith is injured. You want Kirk Cousins to be more than like, oh wow, when you look at him on paper, he's really good.
Yeah.
Like analytics, people love Kirk Cousins. Like before this past year, Aaron Rodgers won MVP. analytics people were driving me crazy. They're like, Kirk Cousins is better than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not the same guy. Kirk Cousins is better. And it would make me lose my mind. But yeah, Cousins needs to do more than be good on paper for them to be like an actual threat.
Yeah. At this point, Cousins is one of those guys like people that just don't believe in him. I get it.
Yeah.
It's gotta just see him do it before you start picking him to do anything ever.
Is it a Packers sweep for winning the division?
Probably the easiest. This is an easy one.
Man, and that's where BBD, if you disagree.
No, I'm with it.
But dude, that's where I love storylines in sports, and we opened up talking about Metsy as a Getsy because there's just some things that are real. And man, I was telling myself this offseason with where the Rodgers stuff got, like the dude legit seemed like he wanted to host Jeopardy. Which makes me wonder where your football head is at. But when I look at that division, man, no one can even scare them really. It's only the Vikings, and that's if everything clicks.
Yeah, and if the Bears had Justin Fields playing, it's maybe he just lights it up as a rookie, and from day one he's the real deal. But it's well, they're at least going to start out slow, and they they play the Rams week 1. Andy Dalton, I mean, he's just I watched him with Dallas last year. He's just not good, and he never was really even he was just average to begin with. So yeah, I don't know how I don't know how Bears fans could feel inspired with Andy Dalton at the helm. I mean, they're not. They're pissed off that they're not starting Fields.
Even in Dalton's prime, it was he was the bottom of where it became he's the line for anyone that's Andy Dalton or better you'd accept as your
Which
team's
you would
quarterback.
Think Nagy is on very thin ice. Don't you think he would be better off just all right, let's see what this kid's got and hope it's good at the end of the year where people are really excited about it.
My Cubs insider is Big Cat at this point, and he always seems to drive home the point that if Nagy has a plan, he just sticks with it instead of veering off course. And when they got Dalton, he was their plan. So I don't know. Any Lions takes? Any chance they're a wild card team?
No, they're bad. They're depleted. They've lost a lot. They lost Stafford and.
Sorry, Lions.
Not a team.
Do you love Dan Campbell?
No.
No.
I don't hate him, though. I mean, it's hard to judge guys like that aren't calling plays as a head coach. It's you kind of have to do with Joe Judge. He's not calling plays on offense, defense. We got to see what you are as a head coach for me to really judge you. But I don't hate him for all the weird football guy stuff.
Sure.
I do think the way he does it will come back to bite him. Saying he's an asshole for
right
that birthday or something, or
that plan rarely maps out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't hate him for all that stuff because it may galvanize the team and win. I respect people for doing it their way, and it's don't be fake. Well,
right.
That's what Dan Campbell is. He's not being fake. If you don't think he should be a head coach, fine. But that is who he is. So.
The NFC South, where I think I feel like year in, year out, the NFC South was always a lot of fun. Between Matt Ryan and the Falcons, where they landed, Drew Brees and the Saints. The Panthers felt like they had gritty teams over the years, and now the Bucs have kind of switched the flip on everyone. I mean, Bucs are big-time Super Bowl favorites again. Their talent, I mentioned I get thrown into fantasy football drafts, and I see Antonio Brown is still an afterthought for them. 2 years after being considered, maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL. Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, their running backs, are talented. Tom Brady at the helm, Arians, and a really talented defense. Is there a challenger in the division?
Well, if you remember, Saints won the division last year. Right. But I'm pretty anti-Jameis compared to, because Jameis, made a comeback and as far as, media-wise.
Right.
Yeah, he's fun. He's a lot like Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he is not consistently good. He didn't have 30 interceptions on accident. That was real. And the Bucs, I know they added Tom Brady, So, but like they went from not making the playoffs, never being a playoff threat, to Super Bowl like winners in 1 year with the addition of Tom Brady. You had a couple other guys, but like Gronk was like not good to start the last year either, and they were good off rip. Michael Thomas is going to be out. Now the Saints are being displaced with the hurricane stuff. I think it's coming crashing down with the Saints. I really do. They have a lot of talent on that roster, but I think it's going to crash down this year. And my surprise team is the Panthers.
Really?
Panthers. I like Matt Rule. I like Joe Brady. Sam Darnold is going to benefit from a fresh start. They got weapons around him. Robbie Anderson still. They drafted Terrace Marshall. They did some good. Like they had Brian Burns is one of like the best defensive ends in the game that no one talks about. They have some really good talent on that team, and I kind of believe in that coaching staff. I mean, think about this. You have Teddy Bridgewater, and we'll talk about him.
Yeah.
He set his record for touchdown passes last year. You know how many it was?
20.
15.
Jeez.
15. That's the record for his career. So I think Darnold will be reinvigorated a little bit with a fresh start. The Panthers I'm picking as a wild card team. They're not going to challenge the Bucs, I don't think. But I am picking them as like a wild card team out of that division, and for the Saints to go down.
And we're not doing a ton of schedule stuff here. They open at home versus the Jets. So if Darnold's
just cruel to the Jets fans.
If
like,
Darnold
if they lose that game, that's cruel.
If Darnold isn't dialed up for that one, I don't know. They host the Saints, which you just talked about, and we'll see what they've got this year with famous Jameis. And then they go at the Texans, who are supposed to be one of the worst teams in football. So we could be sitting in week 3, and it's like, well, the Carolina Panthers are 3-0. What does that mean for them?
Panthers 3-0 to start the season.
Well, and Bobby, I'm happy you went there because the question I was going to ask if either of you guys had had a flyer, you got to do 50-1 odds on the Panthers or the Falcons to be good, and you answered it. Because I don't know. I feel like Matt Ryan ropes me in every like third year. Like you said, it's every other year with the Vikings. I feel like every third year, Matt Ryan, it's like, oh yeah, he can throw for 40 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Me too, but this is the first year where I'm just like, it's not going to happen.
It's
the
over.
Falcons are done. They drafted Kyle Pitts in the first round, which is nice. Arthur Smith, who was a good play caller, but he had a lot of weapons to play call with in Tennessee. 2,000 yard rusher in Henry. AJ Brown, who's he could be in the best wide receiver in the game conversation by the end of the season. Corey Davis, who they have some and a pretty good O line. So yeah, I'm not in on the Falcons. I like what they're doing and what they're starting, but it is starting, and Ryan's been going downhill lately.
Buck sweep, or does anybody want something else?
To win the division.
But I'm saying the Bucks.
I mean, it's just hard to not gamble against.
Yeah.
I guess we can throw out some wild card teams at the end. That might be fun. Bobby revealed his Panthers pick. In the West, this is one division that I think is arguably the most fun. I don't know how you want to phrase it. Most talented. People love the 49ers. They love Shanahan. They drafted Trey Lance, and they still have Jimmy G, and they got so hurt last year. Let's see what they're about. The Cardinals, Kingsbury, supposed to be the wonder kid. Shout out Nate. And everyone loves Kyler Murray. The Seahawks, they have Kyle Murray's best case, Russell Wilson, year in, year out. And the Rams and their wonder kid head coach, McVay, with a new party toy in Stafford. Bob, I'll let you run. Like, what do you see? What do you like?
Well, I'll start with I am picking the Seahawks to win, and it may not be pretty, but I think they're just gonna figure. Russell Wilson and them are gonna figure out a way to win this division. And part of that is, do you think Matt Stafford is overhyped? I think he has, because no one watches Detroit. I think we've kind of forgotten who Matt Stafford is and feeling like Detroit has totally screwed him. No, it hasn't been great, but you know what? Like, he had Calvin Johnson and kind of underperformed with him. And that year they made the playoffs and lost to Dallas. Like, they had a stacked team. Their defense was really good, and they lost in the first round. And I watched a lot of Stafford going through Kenny Galladay stuff, and it's like, man, he misses guys all the time. Like, he's a good QB. I don't want to like he is a good quarterback, and he's definitely an upgrade over Goff. But like, there's people who are predicting like Matt Stafford's going to win MVP this year,
Right?
And I'm just like, he has never been that guy. Like, when is Matt Stafford's going to turn that on? Like, we've seen moments of greatness for Stafford, but it's because he kind of has been quietly in Detroit. No one really watches Detroit. People like don't see all his bad moments the way if he was the Jets QB, all of his bad moments would get highlighted. But they do have a really good team. But also, I think they lost their defensive coordinator Staley to the Chargers. He's their head coach. He is like known as like the wonder boy defensive coordinator in the league. Like people are trying to copy and figure out what he's doing. So I think that's a big loss, even though they have so much talent on that D with Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. I'm picking the Seahawks to win. The Rams are the best wild card in the NFC. They're the only second place team that can compete for a Super Bowl, I think. But I am picking the Seahawks just to figure out a way to win that division with Russ Wilson in the gang.
BBD, any thoughts?
For me, I think it's the Rams. Just their defense seems to. The names all pass the eye test and the run through their depth chart. It's like that's a good defensive group. I just kind of trust Stafford to be at least like a fairly steady presence back there and just keep them good.
Yeah, I think there's.
But like my brain does want me to say Seahawks. Just heart is in the Rams a little bit, and Stafford's a friend now, I think.
Yeah, Stafford's kind of a friend. He lives near Trevor Plouffe.
Boy,
Must be nice. Must be nice. Yeah, he's not our friend, really.
Not our friend.
But maybe one day. No, Bobby, I think the counter to your Stafford stuff would be, we talked about the Mets stuff. The Lions, low-key, are not even low-key. They're one of the worst organizations in sport. So I think the spin zone to your argument is like Stafford, in a way, what he's done in Detroit is almost more impressive because nobody else has done anything in Detroit. And when you multiply that with McVay, that's where people think the magic takes off. And I guess
here's my thing: like the Rams are so good, so they can win the Super Bowl this year. But if you put Matt Stafford on other good, and Sean McVay is supposed to be this guy, so it's not to say discount Rams fans and if you're a Rams fan, you should be expecting to go and compete for the Super Bowl. But if you put Matt Stafford on other good teams that don't have a Sean McVay type, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. The Bills. If he went to the Bills, I'd be like, that's a serious downgrade from Josh Allen. You put him on the Seahawks, I'd be like, that's a serious downgrade for Russell Wilson. So it's not even anti-Rams. It's more like let's pump the brakes a little on what Stafford is.
Yeah, and I think that's where Matt Stafford feels like the pivot point. We talked about, BBD mentioned when Dalton used to be the standard for almost the average quarterback. If you're below that, you're below average. If you're above that, you're above average. I feel like Stafford is kind of the line for good NFL quarterback. Like the names you just said, I think you're right. I don't think he can give Russell Wilson an argument. If Josh Allen plays like he did last year, I don't think he can give Josh Allen an argument. But I think Stafford is good, which again, that's almost a tough phrase to say about a quarterback because in sports media, you either want to say they're amazing or throw someone under the bus. I think Stafford's good, and I think where I guess I trust other people outside of my brain is some of the stuff they used to say about Goff. I mean, people used to talk about Goff like he is not it. I don't know. They talk about single reads or reducing it to half the field, all that stuff. It seems like Stafford is a couple steps above Goff, so when you multiply that with McVay,
I don't want this is me being he's not even better than Goff. He definitely I agree with the Rams going and getting a guy like Stafford, but I do want to pump the brakes on I've seen a lot of people who are like Matt Stafford's going to win that MVP this year. I'm like, I don't think he's going to come even close to that.
If you had to buy stock in the Niners or Cardinals, who would you buy stock in?
The Niners are the team that could be it, and if Trey Lance is good, but here's my take. I think the Niners are going to go 1-5 in this division. I think they're going to lose both games to the Rams, both games to the Seahawks, and then probably split with the Cardinals. So you put the Niners in the NFC East, and you're like they're going to win the division.
Right
here, it's probably the best division in football. It is the best division in football. So, but if you're taking a bet a Super Bowl futures, the 49ers. But I would probably pick the Cardinals to be better than them this year.
Okay.
I've got a soft spot for Kyler, and just looking at the depth chart, I forgot all the guys they added this offseason.
Yeah.
They're at least very interesting.
Yeah.
like Kyler can take a year 3 jump as a passer. Like he's been a good run, but like there's definitely stuff he needs to get better as a passer. Having DeAndre Hopkins helps. They added some guys on the they added JJ Watt. I don't know how big he'll be, but yeah, like there's a room for Kyler to take a jump this year as a passer.
I have no idea if they're gonna be good, but their team I'm gonna probably watch some games on purpose.
I have the Cardinals as as a wild card team, both the Rams and the Cardinals.
Really? Okay. So you have Seahawks winning the division. You have Rams and Cards as your wild card?
And there's one more wild card, the Panthers.
Right. Okay, but that's, I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, you've laid out, it's tough to bet against the Pack or the Bucks. And I know NFL's fun stat they come out with every year is that half the playoffs change every year. So Seahawks, Cards, and Carolina. Yeah, that would be some NFL BS. BBD, who do you have? You got the Rams in the West?
I have the Rams winning the West. You want me to pick some wild card teams?
Pick some wild cards.
It feels like I think we are due for the Vikings to just sneak in there. It's a little bit of just a randomness play. The second Bobby said he liked the Panthers, and I've been looking at him, and I like them a lot too, so I like that pick. It's straight stealing from Bobby.
Okay.
And then it'll be someone in the West. I'll say Seahawks because I said when I picked the Rams that my brain wanted me to say Seahawks. But
yeah, it's tough to have the Rams and the Seahawks both out. I'll go, Bobby. I liked your D coordinator tidbit. I'll steal something for you, and I'll give Seattle the nod. And then I'll have the Rams as the wild card. I'm not about Arizona. I don't think I'm about Carolina either. Give me Minnesota, and my differentiator, I have the Skins winning. Giants or Cowboys? 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 I'll go Cowboys. Come on, Dak. So that's your NFC. This AFC is brought to you by Talking Giants. Bobby Skinner. Talking football. Go check out all the JOMBOY Media football stuff this year. At some point, we will get Bobby Skinner and Chris Rose in a room and have them duel it out.
No doubt. I'm waiting on them.
So that'll be fun. Go get a shirt from the store.
get a shirt. Follow Bobby and Justin and everybody on the socials. And
bake them.
Everyone's cool.
Get baked with them. The AFC, we'll go west to east. We'll switch it up. We'll stay out west.
I mean, we're all picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is there even an argument? Like, what's the team with the best argument? Is it the Chargers? If like Herbert's the real deal, like he technically had a crazy.
Herbert is the real deal.
He had a crazy year.
Bad,
yeah,
you know?
that's a good point.
Bad anyway.
But the Chargers I have them as my last wild card team, because they added Staley, the defense coordinator from the Rams. So hopefully. And he's that Patrick Graham type defensive coordinator where he knows how to play to his scheme and stuff. So I do like that. That's why I have him as a wild card. You get back Derwin James, Joey Bosa on the edge, obviously, and yeah, they added Justin Herbert with those Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who I think is a really underrated wide receiver. Our offensive line's bad, but they added Rashawn Slater, who was that's who I wanted the Giants to draft. So yeah, they should be an ascending team. They lost a lot of close games too last year, so you can make the argument like, well, if they just win those close games, they're a lot better.
Yeah,
but they're not going to battle the Chiefs though.
I gotta say, man, I don't think I've been this demoralized about my Broncos in a little while. And hey, I hope I'm wrong. I hope a lot of people like Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Sutton, Judy, Hamler, Fant, like. The talent is there, and I still think they're anchored by the defense. I mean, Chubb, I think he's gross. Von Miller, even like Simmons, Darby, Fuller in the secondary. I like those guys.
Let me ask you, where is Von Miller at this point of his career? Because I'm worried about him week one, but should I be worried about 2016 Von Miller, or is he taking a noticeable step down from that?
I'll personally bank on Von Miller until I can definitely not. We'll see. I mean, is he coming back? Was it ACL or what did he?
I don't even
I think
remember.
I get all those.
My
muscles.
brain immediately thought it was Achilles once you said ACL.
I mix up Achilles and ACL so much.
Me too. I do that all the time. I'm like, I was like, Lorenzo Carr towards his ACL, and it's like, no, he tore his.
Suffered a dislocated perennial tendon in his ankle. Not sure what that's about. Did Von Miller tear his ACL? I guess he did, but many years ago.
Believed to involve a tendon, not the Achilles.
I don't know. I'm gonna
weird
bank.
ankle thing.
I'm gonna bank on Von Miller. I mean, he's gonna be 32. He's got over 100 career sacks. I think he's at the point of his career where he's not as freaky as he used to be. He should have like smart veteran tricks that he can bust out on you. Like I don't know if DeMarcus Ware is the comp, but I'll bank on Von Miller. And as a Broncos fan, I think I'd hope this is like the passing of the guard to Chubb. Like, I hope this is – because I think this is Von's, like, last year on his actual contract, too.
Yeah, they were supposed to – I thought they were going to cut him this past year, and I guess they kept the hell on.
So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping for a passing of the guard there. The defense can be really good, and Mile High, that always plays, but the Bridgewater move is so – the Bridgewater move's so soft, man. Bobby, you just said it. His career high in touchdown passes, was that 15?
Yeah, but they might just think Drew Lock's really bad too, which I get. I mean, they weren't going to be. I don't think they were going to have a good QB regardless. But if I was a Broncos fan, I'd be like, this is kind of a waste of a year.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I could see them last week being in contention for a wild card spot if everything else falls that way. The defense is good. They don't lose games they're not supposed to lose, but Mahomes in division, like, that's fully out the window. I don't know. Like, Justin Fields was on the board for them, man, and that, like you said, I'm not bought in on him. I actually didn't love him at Ohio State, but the dude has loads of potential. And if you're the Broncos, how can you not take a chance on that? Because your franchise is not going anywhere until you do.
Yeah, I was blown away at that move. I was blown away at them not going for Fields.
Chiefs around the board.
Easy.
Any Raiders? Does anyone ever like the Raiders?
I really wanted to like them.
Okay.
But then I like went and looked at the depth chart a little bit, and not one person in like their secondary was in my book.
Ooh.
I think Derek Carr is like in that mode where it's like you look at certain numbers. I think he's kind of in that Kirk Cousins area too. And with the Chiefs in the division, you'll never get too in love with them.
It just feels like the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers. The Chargers, I think they have the talent to be the two team, but it just feels like all three of those teams could just split their home and homes, and like that's you did it, guys.
It's like none of them can sneak in.
We'll go Chiefs across the board. We're working back to the AFC South. Colts, Titans, Texans, Jaguars.
Might be the worst division in football.
Yeah, they're
actually the East, but still.
They are the new, let's see what we got, Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence. I forgot about Urban Meyer until I saw him on the screen the other day, and I was like, holy crap, but that happened. The Texans are as Metsy as it getsy right now. The Titans have kind of been the force in that division, and then the Colts, it's for the past couple years, it seems like everyone just loves that roster despite what's going on at quarterback when it was the opposite of that for the 5 years before that. So what are we missing, Bobo?
Well, Texans are, I mean, Deshaun Watson's probably not going to play. It's a mess. The Jags, I do like, obviously Trevor Lawrence, but it's too early to, get in early on them. But hey, you know what? Maybe he does do a Andrew Luck Colts rookie year and pull out. So if there's one team that could really like jump out, it'd be the Jags. The Colts, Carson Wentz was really bad last year, and now he's like missing with injury and stuff. I just don't know if it's going to be like the reclamation project for Carson Wentz. And then here's the only thing: do you think the Titans can win our Super Bowl contenders or not? That's what this division's talking point is. Because I do. I like Tannehill. I've come around
Really?
on Tannehill. Derrick Henry. I mean, A.J. Brown. I love A.J. Brown. Then you pair Julio Jones, who's just like he's an alpha on the other side. I know he's not what he was once, but he's still an alpha. And then defensively, I don't know if they're probably not great, but
Is
if there was
Tannehill?
one team in the AFC that I was like they can beat, like I'm most confident beating the Chiefs. I think it's the Titans.
Is
Like more than the Browns, more than the Ravens, more than the Bills. It's the Titans that are the team that I think that could beat the Chiefs in a game more.
Can you get the image of Tannehill? Tannehill plays quarterback in my head like I used to play Madden. Like, he's got Derrick Henry. They're just going to stuff it in his belly, and he's awesome. And then they have those beasts on the outside that because they have to play defense against the run, that he can take advantage of that, which, hey, that's
kind of just has to throw it anywhere near.
That's a really good brand of
best.
football, but at the same time, football and game scripts, like, Tennessee is going to find themselves in a playoff game down 13 at some point, and then I just don't believe in that team.
See, 2 years ago when when they went to the AFC Championship, I would have agreed, but they've had some really nice comebacks,
Yeah.
on in the playoffs, and I know they did lose to the Ravens in the first round, but I think Tannehill is different than what he was once, than the early Tennessee. Tannehill, when people were like, oh, Tannehill's sneaky good, he still has some stuff to do, but man, like I said, AJ Brown can be in the best wide receiver in the game conversation by the end of the year. Probably he's already starting to get in there, and then you add Julio. And Derrick Henry just ran for 2,000 yards. So
Okay, I got one for you. Who would you predict to have a better year if they were the Titans quarterback? Matt Stafford or Ryan Tannehill?
see, Stafford's a little reckless, so it almost makes me I'd almost rather have what Tennessee has,
Okay.
the safer guy. Ooh, that's tough. And I know a lot of people are yelling Stafford, but it's a lot tougher than that. Stafford has much better plays than Ryan Tannehill, but Stafford makes a lot of mistakes and he misses on throws more than people realize. That's tough. You know what? I'm going to go Stafford. Go big or go home.
Okay.
Stafford can do things that Tannehill can't, so I'll say Stafford.
I like how much it ate you up because I don't really know. I think it's fun. Tannehill has been really good with them, but a lot of people Tannehill has to be a good blind taste test at this point. If you did player A, player B with Tannehill stats from the last couple seasons and another guy, Tannehill probably wins easy, right?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't give another guy.
Throw with the same volume as other guys because they had a
Right.
2,000-yard rusher in Derrick Henry. But if you were just efficiency stats, he's best in the league basically.
Okay.
Per throw type of stuff.
So Bobby's Titans BBD. Do you have someone outside of them?
In that division, it's the Titans.
Man.
And I do really like them. When I first saw them, I was like, ooh, that feels like one of the teams I can pick to be a wild card team. And then I looked at all three other teams, that division's no question.
Texans you can't believe in at all. I do like what the Colts about, their coaching staff, but Wentz was so bad. And he's been out, and he is out.
I'm just waiting for the Colts to make that jump, and I just don't think Carson Wentz is going to be the guy that makes them make that jump.
If the Colts do it, sure, but I'm
they have
not
a
the
good
one picking
roster,
them.
not a great roster. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You look at it, and I've been on the Colts train the last few years, but when you look at their rosters, this is a really solid roster, but it's not star studded. If they had Andrew Luck, they'd be a lot of people's Super Bowl pick. But
Man, I wonder what Jacksonville's playoff odds are, because that might be a sneaky little... They open Texans, Broncos. Those are both winnable games.
They can have a winning record in their division, they'll sweep the Texans. And you look at even as bad as they were last year, it's man, they were fighting in a lot of games. A lot of their games came kind of down to the wire against some good teams, with the Browns, and I think even the Titans.
I guess the problem for me is I believe in Trevor Lawrence, which, again, that's not a hot take. And the question is, what does that mean for this year? Because you can have a good rookie year and still be pretty bad. We just talked about Herbert. But I don't think I'm an Urban Meyer guy for professional football. His whole thing is he's the perfect college coach because he makes you part of the family, and he's a teacher of young men, and it's his way or the highway kind of. You're in the family. Like, that doesn't work in the NFL.
Yeah, but it's like Urban, like for other college guys, has Urban always, like, to me, he never seemed like the tough nosed, like, I control. I mean, look at the Florida Gators from the back in the day.
Right.
I mean, like, him keeping that all together wasn't, like, when you really look at that, like the different types of personalities and murderers and stuff, like they were a wild team to try and keep together, and that was one of the best college football teams of all time.
Literally murderers on that team.
There's always a Titans player who would, like, I guess he popped Aaron Hernandez's helmet off on it one time. And, like, he had a great Instagram post about, like, Throwback Thursday to the time I popped the murderer and told him, and he told me come see me or something like that.
It's the little things. Tennessee sweep?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been going sweep on a few. Let's talk about the AFC North because it shouldn't be a sweep.
Okay. Well then, Bobby, you talk last. We'll let the non-experts go first in the AFC North. We've got the Cleveland Browns. Is this year 3 or 4 of Baker?
4.
This is year 4 of Baker, and
good rookie year, bad second year, good third year.
It feels like Baker stock is low right now. Ravens,
Browns very high though.
Right? Ravens, Lamar Jackson, the perfect preseason record. Again, that cracks me up. I think it's hilarious.
I'm jealous of them. That's got to be
so funny. BBD, I don't know if you know this, they've won 20 straight preseason games, all under Harbaugh. So that's like his thing.
On purpose?
I guess so. I don't really know.
He won a Super Bowl, so you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, like,
if
he is
was,
a good coach.
If he was Marvin Lewis, they would, like, crucify him for that.
Well, and that's where it kind of is perfect Harbaugh, bro, because that story in 20 years is going to be hilarious to people. Like, when we talk about the Harbaughs, like we talk about Buddy Ryan or something like that, I think that's going to be really funny.
They just draft really well. Like, they're I love the Ravens. And that's why I'm picking. The Ravens are going to, Lamar, they added some receivers. Lamar's going to be good again this year. Like, Lamar has a baseline of very good. It's the whole, like, can he win the playoffs thing? And they beat the Titans, who they lost in the second round to the Bills. But it's like, even in that game, people are like, "Oh, Lamar didn't look good." It's like, well, Josh Allen didn't look great in that game either, and no one's knocking him. So I am in on the Ravens this year. I am picking the Ravens to win the division. The Browns are going to be very good, but I am picking the Ravens. And where are you guys on the Steelers? Because I feel like people are predicting a downfall for them.
Man, So I kind of like the Steelers. I actually really like their talent positions. I think Claypool's a beast. I think Deontay Johnson's really good. I think Juju as a third receiver is good. They drafted Najee Harris, which, like, this team now feels like when you surround the old quarterback with, like, a bunch of young talent and you hope he can do enough to get the ball in their hands just by being a veteran quarterback. And, man, the Steelers' defense just always happens. And it passes the name test, too. I mean, Cam Hayward's still doing it. T.J. Watt, Devin Bush, Joe Hayden, Edmonds, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like, what's their head coach's name? I'm blanking.
Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Cower to Tomlin. So I like Tomlin. I have him as, I think he's an impressive head coach as his floor can be. He has one of the best floors as a head coach, what he can do with a football team.
He's never had a losing season as a head coach.
Right, like, and Roethlisberger was out for what? Most of last year? Am I dreaming that?
He was there all year.
I'm going back 2 years ago. The Mason Rudolph and all of that. I don't know, man. Big Ben, I think he does enough. There's still games when you watch him and he's like the best player on the field. Which, like, when the DNs are just falling off of him and he still does whatever he wants, it's like, whoa, dude, you're not the same.
Yeah, he's changed though. He's now I think he was top of the league of like like quickest release.
Right.
I don't know, man. He's getting old. Like
But isn't like Brady usually on that list too because he knows where the ball is going? Like
Brady's always been on that list.
Right.
Ben, it's like overcompensating for his age a little
Sure.
bit,
Sure. Yeah, and that's the other side of it. I don't know. I'll take the Steelers, man. I don't know if it's just because I was in Pittsburgh recently, saw the yellow bridges and stuff, but I really like their talent. I think Ebron, Claypool, Johnson, or Juju, you've got a mismatch on a given day against any defense with those guys. And I think they're just going to feed Harris a lot. Like, I think it's going to be not similar to the Broncos Peyton Manning team the year Peyton's wheels were falling off because that team was all defense. But
well, that's the year that Peyton, like that needs to be talked about more. The fact that like Peyton just balled out every year in Denver, like amazing. Like probably some of the best years of his career were in Denver.
Yeah.
Like that 55 touchdown season, and then the year where he's like the worst quarterback in the league, they win the Super Bowl.
Right. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. So you can't like plan that for a team. I think. Like Peyton at the end of that, you watch some of the highlights and you're like, oh my God. I think Ben can do enough with this talent. The defense will be there. And like Cleveland, there's always questions. It's just Cleveland. Sorry about it.
I figured you'd be in on Cleveland.
Dude, I don't know why. Like I really respect what they did last year. And I think I gave their head coach like bro of the night like 3 times last year for keeping Cleveland not a disaster, but
I'm interested to see the correction on there because their head coach is really good, but I want to see how teams start game planning for them because it's a very like clear cut, like this is the way we play, this is our identity, we don't change for anybody type.
I guess for me, why I picked the Steelers is that I could see Cleveland and the Bengals, like I said, like if those teams split the home and home, I'm not surprised at all. Kind of same with Ravens, Browns, Ravens, Bengals, like. The Steelers, I could see them winning both games in their division. Hey, if Big Ben falls off the cliff, then I'm super wrong, but I'll go Steel Curtain. Who do you got, BBD?
No, the Ravens and Steelers are both kind of teams. At this point, they just have the benefit of the doubt. You sort of have to blindly believe in them. But for the sake of being different and a soft spot for them, I will pick the Browns because they're kind of just they've been a fun team to root for a couple of years, even though they're like. Last year was the only year they've been good. But for the sake of being different, the Browns, but like them. I don't know.
Okay. Hey, man, they've got the running backs. They've got talent.
If it clicks, it clicks. The Steelers and Ravens, like I said, they have the benefit of the doubt. You just kind of believe in them to be good, but they're not unbeatable. So in a regular season, you can see something going wrong, particularly for the Steelers. Ravens, I don't see a way it goes awful. Besides, like, injuries and stuff, obviously, because football exists. But.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Bobby, you're right. I think one of the takeaways is, like, that may be one of the most open divisions because, hey, I'm interested to see what Joe Burrow looks like, but they've got talent around him now that if he's nice, whatever nice means for Joe Burrow, that's a tough team to beat week in, week out, I think.
They'll have like some surprise wins, but they're not going to be good. They're.
I like that. I like the Bengals having like 6 nice wins that they get excited.
I was going to say
they get people excited for next year.
We look back and they're like, oh, they got to 6 wins.
Okay.
We just did a trade with the Bengals.
Gee, man. Let's AFC East real quick and finally, Bills are the big favorites. Patriots with the big news. They cut Cam. Mac Jones season taking off. The Jets with their new shiny toy quarterback. And the Dolphins, which I don't know. I like their head coach. I've kind of been against Tua, and then there was Deshaun Watson rumors. I shouldn't say against Tua. I have a bad / real theory that a lefty can't be good in the NFL as of right now.
Yeah, you told me that a couple weeks ago. I kind of it's like Mike Vick.
Best running quarterback ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, why aren't there more lefty quarterbacks? It weirds me out. I don't know, Bob. Is this as Bills as it seems? Is it? I'm not confident in Buffalo, and I don't know if that's. I don't know why.
I think it's because people hated Josh Allen so much that they wanted like him to like there was such a
It feels like there has to be some regression. I just don't know how much.
Well, who's gonna? I guess so.
You don't.
Their whole coaching staff together.
You don't have to guess. So, like, Josh Allen could be really good, but you're right, because how tough people were on him as a prospect. I think that there should be natural regression this year, but it also doesn't have to be. Like, he can be elite. There's no reason he shouldn't. He's super athletic. He's got a crazy arm, and like
I don't think there's going to be any regression out of Josh Allen.
Okay.
But I think they could not be as good as a team. But they're going to win the division. I do have the Patriots being the wild card. They had a lot of opt-outs last year that are back. You know, Dante Hightower probably being the biggest of those. They added Matt Judon. They added the tight ends of Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Nelson Aguilar, who's not anything crazy, but he had a really good year last year. They added pieces, and Bill Belichick identified Mac Jones, wanted him, and now he's his guy. I think the Patriots will make the playoffs as a wild card.
I like that. Any Dolphins?
Like they're gonna have I think they're gonna have a really good defense this year.
Is there anything on the Dolphins?
The defensive names stick out.
The Dolphins were an ascending team, but it seems like okay, but what did you do now to get better? And I don't think they added Jalen Waddle and then Phillips in the draft, so 2 good picks. But are those 2 guys going to be the difference makers that push them to the next level this year? I don't know. So I think they're just meddling. Like they almost made the playoffs last year, and it has to do with Tua. Like, is Tua good or not? And I think a lot of people are kind of down on Tua, which I don't blame.
If Tua's good, I think they'd be one of my wild card teams. But I kind of need to just like see it. He didn't have did he have any games last year where we came away at least statistically impressed? I don't remember any games that I watched.
Yeah, there were some good ones to start, but they kept benching him in mid-game.
Right.
Fitzpatrick.
Brought in Fitzpatrick.
That's why, I kind of stopped my love for liking up Brian Flores. And one, it's like he fires his coordinators every year. By the way, too, it's like he's had a different offensive coordinator every year. Patrick Graham came from there, and now he's viewed as one of the bright minds of the game. And just you bench Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was playing well, and then you put Tua in, and then you start benching Tua mid games, and Fitzpatrick was coming in and making some plays. So I am not as high on Brian Flores as I was, a year ago.
Yeah, for me, I've almost got I've got my lefty theory on Tua, which I'm just gonna ride into the ground because if it's right, I'm first on that. B, it's almost the reverse Josh Allen, where Tua was so beloved, and have we seen a talent like this, and look how he looks off the safety and he makes the throw, blah, blah, blah. To now, we're sitting here, and you're right, and hey, maybe it's the Dolphins to blame when you're benching him for Ryan Fitzpatrick, but the Tua hype wagon is, missing. And he should be... When Tua was coming to the NFL, it was supposed to be this dude has a chance to be next. Almost the 1-1 QB in the league. And now it's, I don't know. They're benching him for Fitzpatrick.
He didn't have a moment as a rookie. That's really what, he didn't have, a lot of rookies have moments. And those are what people remember him by. BBD said, it's do you remember anything from Tua? He had that moment, and he had some bad ones too. So.
In the division, I am going to be taking the New England Patriots. I think Bill Belichick is on a fuck you tour. I
love Bill Belichick. People have been hating on him now, and that bothers me so much.
Tom got to have his moment last year, and now I think Bill comes back. He got a quarterback that he believes in enough to cut Cam a week and a half before the season. And I don't think Mac Jones has to be great. And by the way, they spent a ton in free agency, which that's not always the answer, but they brought in a lot of guys. I don't know, man. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. I think, like you're saying, they had all those guys out with COVID stuff. I think the Patriots' defense is going to be back, and I think Mac Jones is going to be enough. And I think Belichick is really going to be Everyone loved Brady last year. I think that's going to spark a little bit of the fire into it. I'm going Pats.
They added a bunch of free agents, and like I said, they had a bunch of opt-outs last year too. So yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm picking the Bills, but I am picking the Patriots as my 3 wild cards in the AFC are Browns, Patriots, and Chargers. I have the Steelers missing.
Browns, Patriots, and Chargers. LAC. BBD, who do you have in the division?
For the division, I am running it back with the Bills, but I do have kind of just a blind Belichick like what they're doing for the Patriots, and I like that they've got the 2 tight end stuff going again, which they kind of always do. And if Mac Jones is really anything, then I think they probably are a very good team. So they're one of my wild card teams. And I said it when I picked the Browns at the Steelers and Ravens. You kind of just blindly believe in
both of them.
So I'll just give it to me.
Okay. Pitt.
I kind of just don't have anyone else to really believe in. The Colts I almost do, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz, and none of their backups are in my book. And at that position, like I said, the Raiders, I think I want to like, and nobody on the outside of the defensive line was in my book, which maybe says a lot about me.
Can someone come out of the AFC West as a wild card?
Chargers.
Maybe by default, just because Houston, Indy, Jacksonville. Does the AFC North beat up on each other, and then it's Jets, Dolphins. Okay, so yeah, I'll have New England. I'll have Buffalo as the first wild card. I'll have Baltimore. I think Lamar does have a good year.
I really like Lamar.
I'm between Jacksonville and the Raiders, which feels like something that won't matter in a couple months.
For the wild card?
Yeah. I'm going Las Vegas, baby. I'm a Gruden guy. I'm a Gruden guy in my soul. He finally has the perfect formula. All right, we'll probably tweet those out if you've listened along. Thank you for us. I don't know, Bob, is there any, a football thing you need to get off your chest before we wrap up? Is there, a player that you think is next, or who is the next quarterback, or running?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't spend a ton of time on the quarterbacks this year, so I'm not going to say anything with conviction. Sure. I don't know. We kind of went through every single team, talked about every team. So I think I gave my takes on every single one. I think my Matt Stafford take was the one I was probably wanting to get off my chest.
Okay. Like that. It's out there. BBD, anything you need to say?
Go Giants. It's just in general, it's the most excited I've been for a Giants season in 5 years. So
I think.
I guess you didn't watch the preseason game on Sunday.
Yeah. I think.
That really deflated a lot of people.
I think.
Not watching that helped me.
Smart. Follow my guy Bobby Skinner at Bobby Skinner _. Go check out Talking Giants. If you're a Giants fan, you probably already do. Check it out even more. Justin Panic, who's with him, and Talking Football. That's going to be growing throughout the year. O-line report. Anything else? Live streams.
If you have a young offensive lineman on your team and we want to learn more about him, tell me, and I will put him on a list to make a video about.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bakers. We will be back on Monday from the beach, I think. So, JOMBOY Media Beach Week coming up. Exciting stuff. Follow everything and everyone on the JOMBOY Media Network. Thank Bobby for coming on here. Maybe the most frequent Flyer Miles as a Wake and Jake guest.
I think so. Wake and Jake, JOMBOY and Jake Radio.
Yeah.
That's what I get for getting in on the chip.
Guest extraordinaire Bobby Skinner. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, guys.
There's a lot of bad NFL teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick a surprise team. That team's not good. That team's not good.
No Jags. Trevor Lawrence. Urban.